your mic for a second. Let me see what I do. Mitch's Fathom. Who's that? Welcome in, everyone. Hey, it's Throwdown Thursday. A little more casual show. We can be a little bit nuttier if we want to be. We can tell a few jokes, lighten the mood a little bit. To get started, my name is Robert Imbrielli. If you have not been here before, welcome in. This is a show that people really like this show because we have a little bit of a roundtable discussion, and we're able to cover a lot of different topics, a lot of things that happen in the current news cycle, and we'll dig deeper into them and give you different perspectives. Mitch has a perspective. Bruce has a perspective. Master Baggy was here with us last week. He has a perspective, and it's really kind of fun to see that because the last thing we want is everybody on the same page. We don't want an echo chamber. We want everyone to kind of have a sort of a different take on it. How do we know? Just look at the Charlie Kirk event, right? How many people have theories on what actually happened? Everybody has a theory on it. So it's really kind of nice to do that. For those of you, I get the complaints. I hear you guys. Sometimes Rumble doesn't do what it's supposed to do. We are streaming also on the Rumble on YouTube. Look for Official Renegade Media on YouTube. On Rumble, it's Renegade Media, and also on Bruce's channel, which I don't know if he's got it set up yet, Unpopular Viewpoint. And if you want to watch on X, you can do that. Just look for me at Robert Imbrielli. And those are your backup channels in case, some people say, hey, it just stops playing for some reason. I get it. Happens to me too. I don't know why. It's Rumble. It's just one of these things, just the way things are, and the world of technology. It's a little bit crazy. I wanted to just introduce you real quick to our co-hosts. I'll let you know. I'm going to bring them in a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of monologue before I bring them in. But our co-host today is the always inspired Bruce Poppy. You're going to see him. He just arrived in the great state of California. He lives in Florida typically, and that's a long way to make it across the country, but he made it. So today he's in California. We're on the same time zone. Really cool. We thought maybe he'd be here in the studio, but not yet. Maybe later in the month after the tour is done, we'll get him down here. And also, the highly enlightened Mitch Axelrod joins us today. So you're going to get some really a different perspective on things, sort of the bigger philosophical view, if you will. He brings a lot of that to the table. So really kind of fun to have him. Joey, thank you for your kind words, and Linda, you as well. You guys miss Mitch. We got to bring him back more often. Got it. Duly noted. I'm sure Mitch will be happy to come back every week. He really enjoys sharing this. All right. It's been a week of some interesting violence out there, and not just the Charlie Kirk murder. That was the first one, the assassination, but now I think there's 5 or 6 other shooting incidents. So we're going to talk about that today. I brought Mitch on specifically to get his take on it. We have a video that we're going to play, and then we're going to dissect it. But I wanted to go a different direction as we get started here, because we want to understand why the trans community is so violent. Right? That's the question we're all asking. Why? What is it with them that they are so incredibly violent? Well, let's go back to 2017. This is when I used to color my hair. This is Dr. John Gray, and we had a great conversation. And I asked him about that. I said, we hear a lot about this concept of toxic masculinity, right? We hear this constantly bantered about. And I said, is masculinity, it really, a thing, or is that just, a media construct? And he had an interesting thing to say. He says, I'll tell you the truth. He says, men with high levels of testosterone are not violent. That's what we're being told. High levels of testosterone makes a man violent. It's actually the opposite. Makes a man confident, relaxed, calm, but ready. Should that saber-toothed tiger jump through the window, ready to attack and defend the family. And then he said something really interesting. He says men with high estrogen levels. So the testosterone's low, the estrogen goes up. They're angry. They can often be violent depending on how out of balance things are. And if you think about those 2 little nuggets of information, and then you say, okay, we have a trans situation going. So we have a male body, which is designed to be high testosterone, low estrogen. We put them on testosterone blockers, and then we add estrogen. What do you end up with? Oh, could it be a violent person? Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to kind of go into this a little bit more. And so I said, okay, what are the number of sex offenders per million? I found a post on Wonderful X. Sex offenders per million, biological women, 3. Biological men, 395. A little bit more there. Not a number to be proud of for sure. Trans women, this is men putting on a dress, testosterone blockers, supplementing with estrogen, 1,916. Kind of see a pattern here, right? Something weird is happening. So today we hear that the FBI now is being urged to identify or classify a new terror category with transgender. People who identify as transgender could be considered domestic terrorists. That's how far this has come. Kind of crazy. So we're looking at all the things that are going on. I wanted to dig a little bit further. So I went into Grok and I said, okay, let's talk, Grok. Tell me a little bit about the estrogen dominant male. What kind of behavioral things would we see? And echoed what John Gray said. High estrogen is linked to increased depressive symptoms, which can manifest as persistent sadness or low mood. So here you are, you're a man, and you say, I'd like to be a woman. You put on a bra, you put on, panties, you put on a skirt, whatever, and you start blocking your testosterone, raising your estrogen, and instead of being happier, because you're in a male body, you're actually sadder. Isn't that interesting? Anxiety. Elevated estrogen levels can contribute to heightened anxiety, including feelings of worry and unease. Irritability. Increased irritability or frustration over minor issues may occur. You see men that just explode. By the way, it's not just the trans men who are estrogen dominant. There's a lot of artificial or, what do they call it? Not artificial. There's a different word for it. There's estrogen in our water bottles, right? There's all kinds of, estrogen in our foods and that kind of thing. So men today typically are they're fighting for this and trying not to be estrogen dominant. You could see sometimes men, fly off the handle really quickly. That might be, not always, it might be something there. They have fatigue and low energy. Men may feel unusually tired or lack motivation for daily activities. Maybe they're sitting in mom's basement playing video games. Who knows? Sleeplessness, difficulty falling or staying asleep can disrupt rest and exacerbate other mood issues. Yeah, go for a week without sleeping well and tell me how happy you're going to feel. Now, let's contrast this a little bit. Men with high testosterone, or just not even high, let's just say men with normal testosterone levels, mood and emotional regulation, they're stable and positive. Normal testosterone acts as a natural mood stabilizer, often reducing anxiety and depressive symptoms. Men may feel more resilient to stress with an overall sense of well-being and lower emotional reactivity and routine interactions like handling work pressures or social conflicts. That's what we're designed to be. We're supposed to be the grounding ones. Reduced anxiety in everyday scenarios such as public speaking. Who does that? Anybody here do any public speaking? Or decision-making? Individuals might experience less fear or hesitation, leading to calmer responses. Cognitive and mental functions enhance focus and cognition. Testosterone supports spatial reasoning, memory, and problem solving. In normal situations, this could translate to better navigation. Ladies, we don't have to ask for directions if our testosterone level's high enough. Ooh, is there a shoe coming? No, okay, I got to be careful here. Improve verbal memory during conversations or sharper mental performance in tasks like puzzles or strategic planning at work or home, and filling that moving van and getting everything to fit just so. You put 10 times as much in a moving van than most people can do. Motivation and energy. Men often feel higher drive and initiative, such as pursuing goals, exercising, engaging in hobbies without the fatigue or apathy sometimes seen with low testosterone levels. How about social behavior? Well, let's see. This is really important. Assertiveness and confidence sure beats depression, right? Depression and anxiety. Assertiveness and confidence, normal levels are linked to moderate confidence and status-seeking tendencies, which might show up as taking leadership roles in group settings, negotiating effectively, or expressing opinions assertively in discussions. I guess my testosterone's pretty normal. Without crossing into aggression. Right? The aggression is the other side. It's the estrogen. Social engagement, there can be a tendency toward benevolent or cooperative actions like helping others, building relationships, fostering positive social interactions in family, friendships, or professional environments. How about sexual and physical behavior? Healthy libido. A balanced sex drive is common, leading to regular interest in intimacy without compulsion. In daily life, this supports satisfying relationships and overall vitality. Physical activity, testosterone aids in muscle maintenance and energy, yada, yada, yada. It goes on and goes on and goes on. So you can see, if you look at this picture as a whole, you can see that high levels of estrogen, bad news. Normal testosterone in a man is a good thing. And forget about this idea of toxic masculinity. It doesn't exist. It's crazy. Women who really recognize the importance of the male in their life, to ground them, to support them, to protect them. That's our role, right? That's the masculine role. And it's being diminished because they've got all this estrogen in all the foods that we eat. Every bottle of water that you drink has got estrogen in it, right? And we got to be careful about that kind of thing. We got to keep an eye on those levels, keep us good and healthy. All right, enough of my babbling. There's a really handsome-looking dude over here. Let me introduce you to my handsome-looking dude, buddy. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Got to unmute your mic so we can hear you too. We just don't like to see you.
All right. Yes.
Yeah, there we are.
Gonna get this. Woo.
How are you?
Oh, we're A+ and top notch.
Awesome. Awesome.
We did not make it into California. We're right on the edge, man. We're in Reno, Nevada.
Oh, cool. I love Reno.
Yep. So I could have pushed today, but then I would have to miss the show, and I could have made it into California today. But Donner Pass. Anybody who's traveled along I-80 from Nevada into California, that's a pretty steep climb, long climb, 35 miles or so.
Wow.
Climb, 5-6% grades, and then same thing on the way down. It's like a 50 or 60 mile descent into Sacramento Valley. So we decided to cut it short today, and we'll take that Donner Pass and be near where the event is on Saturday tomorrow.
Outstanding. That was a smart move. Good to have you on board. Let's introduce our other co-host today. He's a conspiracy theorist. Here he is, Mr. Mitch Axelrod. How are you, buddy?
Great, Robert. Bruce, you're just as handsome as ever, I'll tell you. Yes, sir. I'm good, Robert. Thanks for inviting me.
Good to have you. We have a lot to talk about. Obviously, it's been quite the whirlwind since the Charlie Kirk assassination, and we've been going over all the different scenarios, and all you keep hearing is just more and more and more theories. I'm up to maybe 100 different theories now, and I'm still in camp number 4. Not ready to put my hat on any one of them yet.
Yeah, it's it's a funny thing, traveling. We left Monday. Traveling, I haven't spent a lot of time, perusing news and headlines. Yesterday, I just had some extra time. I start scrolling, checking things out, and good grief! I mean, the angles that people are coming up with, and this and that and the other, and it's all bunk in my mind. I mean, quite honestly, it sounds kind of callous, and I don't want to, be canceled for it, but the Charlie Kirk thing is almost old news. And whatever ends up being the truth, I know one thing, like I know my own name, that this event was designed to be able to tap into our emotions and keep us from thinking clearly, critically thinking, to keep us focused on something while something else is going on. Watch the right hand while the left hand is, giving you up the backside. So regardless of whatever the truth is, and I don't know, I mean, I have a couple of, what feels plausible to me. A couple different, I mean, I know 100%, again, like I know my own name, that Tyler Robinson guy is not the guy who killed Charlie Kirk.
No, none of that pans out. I mean, you look at the official FBI statements, none of that makes any sense. And, we can poke holes at it 100 ways to Sunday. And they're sticking to it.
Just think about a 30-06. Anybody who's done any hunting, 30-06 is a big freaking bullet, right? And even at that distance, it would have taken his head clean off. There would be nothing left. Not just a tiny little hole where your jugular squirts out some stuff.
Well, 30-06 is a lethal range of 5 miles, just to give you some idea. And you could shoot a deer at a very long distance with them. It's a deer gun, a deer hunting gun. And, there's people are saying, oh, it could hit his spine and stop. I'm like, no, stop it. No.
Come on. People need to get, I hate to be really critical because everybody's in a different place, but unplug, go ground somewhere, get centered, do some rapé, figure things, get it connected to your creator, and things will level out for you. Don't get too caught up in all the minutia.
As they say, touch grass.
Touch grass and rub your head. I mean, I don't know. You got to do something to disrupt.
Hug a tree, do something.
Yeah. Something. I was telling a friend yesterday, I said, I've probably said the name Charlie Kirk probably better than 1,000 times in the past 10, 12 days now. Like you, Bruce, we catch, actually, Mitch too. We've been watching. I think Mitch and I have been watching Bannon since he started in 2020, and then Charlie Kirk was on right after him. So I'd always catch the first segment or two of his show, and then by that time it's like I got to get on with the day. So I didn't really watch it. I was not his demographic, and I think there's an understanding there. It's like, why didn't you watch Charlie Kirk all the time? Really not his demographic. His demographic, he was shooting for a younger crowd. And the other thing that was telling is if you just did 2 hours of Bannon, you heard all the top stories. And then when Charlie would come on, it would be the same stories again, different point of view, maybe a little bit of a different direction, but essentially the same. There's only so much news in a day you're going to talk about. Mitch, did you watch much of Charlie? Or
I really didn't. I've probably watched more of Charlie since shooting than I've watched my whole life. And it's interesting how people form opinions based on sound bites and cut context. And when you really listen to him, he didn't have a lot of the qualities that naysayers attribute to him. So, being as we live in a headline world and soundbite world,
yep.
Kind of easy to manipulate people's feelings about him based on pulling snippets out of context and short passages. But what I was amazed by is the amount of people in Generation X, boomers, that showed up for his memorial service. And I would say it was certainly maybe split evenly between those two generations and millennials and Gen Z. So he obviously spoke to a wide range of people. He talked about human things. And I began to really appreciate why people, especially young people, tended to follow him. And he gave hope. He gave positive hope. There's a lot of interesting. I read two other competing theories of the assassination. One being Michael Savage. I don't know if you know who he is, but he went apeshit ballistic. And he said, this is bullshit. It can't be. There was no way. He just basically said, how the heck could he disassemble a rifle, jump off the roof without the rifle being seen, showing, and then go reassemble it and drop it off into the forest and wrap it in? It just made no sense, right?
Yeah.
And that was, we don't know the answer. And then the other thing, which I thought was kind of way out there, but again, you got to keep your mind open to whatever's possible. Stu Peters, who, he's on the edge for sure. He said it was more like the blowing up of the blueberries in Israel and in Gaza, wherever it was, Lebanon, and that it came through his mic. And he had still pictures. So, all the theories are going to come out. And I think the one thing that's true is we don't know what happened, and we may never know because it seems to be quite a bit of a cover-up.
Massive cover-up. Yeah, no question. I think you were referring to a blackberry, not a blueberry.
Yeah, excuse me, a blackberry.
I saw that take as well. And of all the different takes I've seen, that one really is kind of plausible. If you lean to the Mossad and Israel connection, and all the events leading up to what happened on September 10th, and Charlie seemingly walking away from Israel or being critical, there's that aspect, and that thing is that the mic blew up, and the little magnet piece that holds it on his shirt, that's what flew up, and that's what cut his neck, and that makes a lot of sense. The 30-06, no way. And funny you mentioned that the gun thing. If he took it apart on the roof, and then he put it together, but he left the screwdriver on the roof. So how did he put it back together in the woods? He must have had an extra set of screwdrivers or something. That again, it just makes you've seen the Ring video 30 minutes before the shooting, and he's limping. It doesn't seem like, that's probably an assembled rifle in his leg, if that's the case. And so, yeah, and there's even people who broke down the 30-06 videos after the fact and tried to fit in a backpack, and even broken down, it does not fit in a backpack.
No, and then the other piece too is that once you remove the barrel and then you reassemble it, you're no longer sighted in. Now you have to re-sight in that gun to make sure you're accurate, because just a tiny little movement on that scope mount is going to mess things up. You drop the gun, you got to go re-sight it in. You know what I mean? And this was taken apart, reassembled, taken apart, reassembled, and then that shot was with absolute perfection. There was no better place to hit Charlie if you want to take him out, because apparently he died instantly. He was gone before he even hit the ground. Right? So think about that.
How much blood is in the human body? A little over 1 liter? 2 liters maybe? I don't know the exact number.
I think quart.
Yeah. I mean, so there was quite a amount of Vesuvius coming out of his neck. Yeah. Then the FBI too said they found unused or unspent cartridges in the chamber situation. If you disassemble that, there's not going to be anything in the chamber.
You got to take the bolt out. Yeah, it's a bolt action gun.
So
why no autopsy report? Why is that not been made public?
Right, and what bullet did they find in him? "Quote unquote." They found it. It was right in.
Wouldn't have been
they found
one
the bullet.
if his beeper exploded. If his microphone exploded, there wouldn't be a bullet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't know. I think it's up to us as patriots to keep the pressure on. I think the FBI is scrambling hard to keep pushing that narrative. They don't seem to be getting off of it. And I keep hearing stories that they're about to close the case. They're going to close the investigation. I don't see how they'd be able to do it with all of us pushing so hard. Who knows?
If one last theory, I texted you, Robert, on this morning, I think early. A guy named John Cullen and Jason Goodman, who is crowdsourced in New York. He's great. He walks around New York City. And they did a forensic analysis with the gunshot. And their forensic analysis with the gunshot said that it didn't come from 150 or 200 yards away. It came from approximately 73 yards away. And they did a triangulation on that and showed that it couldn't possibly have been the shooter that was framed for it. And they also revealed that there were drones and a plane that was hovering above, a surveillance plane. And they isolated drones that were flying within that range of 73 yards or whatever it was. So, there's more questions than answers on this thing.
More than we even know, because every day there's a little bit more. The other thing that I think is fabulously interesting is if you look at the videos. Now, an event like that, you got to imagine, a couple of thousand kids there. They're all cell phone plugged in. Where are all the other videos? There should be hundreds of angles. There should be videos everywhere flowing on the internet. And we see the same 3-4 angles. That's it. That's all you got. And it's like, well, why aren't there more? And why are they so blurry? These phones are 4K. They produce a hell of quality video. Why are we seeing video from 1976? I mean, I don't get it. Where is the original video?
Well, you don't have any other angles because the crowd was all AI. There was nobody there. Serious, I swear. There are people who believe that shit. It was all AI. It was all AI holograms. Wow. And there's a trap door underneath Charlie and all that stuff. It's insanity.
Yes. And that leads us into the next conversation, I believe.
It does. And here's the thing. It's like, do you guys like the idea that anybody who has been, bad-mouthing Charlie Kirk or celebrating the Charlie Kirk assassination should be fired? We're seeing this a lot. Here's an Oklahoma City council member forced to resign after telling Trump supporter to kill herself in a vile online post. Is that a tranny or is that real? Is that a real woman? I don't know. But could be a man. Who knows? What do you think? Should they be canned for their vile reactions to all of this?
Well, they're the ones who are getting fired are crying free speech, free speech, free speech. Well, they do have the free speech and the right to be able to say what they want. However, their employer, I think it falls back into more of a character issue that your boss, you have to have some type of level of type character to be employed by somebody. So it's not a free. They're not caning you, firing you because of what you said. It reveals a level of your character, and that's probably not or why you should not be employed with that person any longer.
Right.
That's just my take. I don't, I can't confirm any of that.
Is that
It
an
just makes
unpopular
sense.
take, or is that the popular take?
That's unpopular viewpoint. Everybody wants to cry free speech, and that's why they allegedly, took out Charlie Kirk, was because he was using his free speech and he was being effective with it. So I mean, they're angling for that. Who knows, But yeah, I wouldn't hire somebody who was gleefully celebrating the demise of another.
Mitch?
Free, but not free of consequence. That's, when you're talking about employment, as Bruce said, your character is part of your employment, not just how well you do your job. And what you do in your off hours is your business. However, if it reflects badly on the company, or if it's hurts the company's brand or reputation, they have a right to do what they think is best for the company. That's why the spin on the Jimmy Kimmel thing, the only spin that you saw was free speech from one side of the aisle.
Right.
But the truth is, it wasn't a matter of free. He was free to speak. He was free to go on any TV station. He's free to speak his mind on YouTube. But he is bound by the parameters and constraints of broadcast TV and the shareholders and the radio stations. And two of the major radio conglomerates said, hey, this is not good for business. You're alienating a third to one half of the population. And so it was convenient for them to frame it as free speech. But in reality, it wasn't an issue of free speech. He's free to say whatever he wants, but there are consequences to what he said. And the consequences were corporate and shareholder value. They somehow missed that part of it
Well, the interesting part is the companies are defending themselves because they know right away that this is a huge uprising. There's a ton of people that are supportive of Charlie Kirk. Starbucks comes to mind, where one of the employees there said, "Oh, it's too political. We can't put Charlie Kirk on your cup of coffee." And Starbucks had to come back because you saw those boycott Starbucks posts were popping up all over the place, and they were quick to respond. Kudos to them for doing that. And they said, no, there are no restrictions. We got rid of that employee who did that because they can't make up decisions for the company on their own. And we took them out, which is important. And you're right. It's like if it reflects badly on the company, it's not their place to be trying to speak in the place of what the company believes or company doesn't believe.
Yeah. Our culture has got to the point where the lines between private conversation and public display have been erased by, I'm sad to say, not only a generation, but essentially those lines now. People, and this kind of leads into what we're going to discuss with Jeffrey Mead's post. You feel like you're justified, and it's your right, it's your obligation to be heard, to tell your truth. So what you would normally keep private in private conversations, where there would be no backlash except for your personal relationships, now people feel perfectly justified in making a public display of their feelings, but they don't realize that, it's like kids go to college and everything they do in college used to be private. Now it's public. And when employers start to hire college students, they don't just look at their resume and their grades. They go back over their social
The
media
social media, exactly. Yeah.
posts, right? So everybody who believes, oh, life is an open book, everything is public. There are certain things that you really should keep private and to yourself. And I think those lines have been blurred over the past few years with social media. Like, so, these people feel justified. And now if they pay consequences, they feel offended. They feel attacked. All right. So, yeah, it's a slippery slope there.
I remember, Mitch, when I first started in 2020, and I said, I'm going to start talking about the politics and stuff. And I remember the conversations that we had about, oh, that's going to cost you if you put your neck out there. It's going to cost you clients. It did. It's going to cost you friendships. It did. And all of that. And it was a calculation for me because at that moment, I really looked at the country and I said, you know what, if this continues to go in the direction that it was going when they installed Biden, what business are you going to have if the country's gone? That was my gut feeling about it. I said, you know what, if I lose a few clients, so what? I'll gain new ones. I lost friends. Family members don't talk to me. I have, that kind of thing. All of it happened. But, it was a calculated decision to say I needed to do this. To play, I couldn't look at myself 10 years from now if the country got lost and say, what did you do? Well, I did nothing. I just kept running my business as usual. Didn't pay any attention to it. I just I couldn't live with myself. So I had to do something. So, yeah, there are times, I guess, when, you have to make that decision for yourself. But I wasn't representing anybody. I was representing me.
That's a big difference.
Big difference. Yeah.
You were self-employed and you were willing to take the fallout and the consequences. If you were employed by somebody who was paying your salary, it would have been a different decision.
Right.
So very big distinction there. To be self-employed, you're free to say whatever you want to whomever you want, and whatever consequences there are of that, you accept it. Whereas these people who are doing it, the majority of them are employed by somebody else, and what they say impacts their company and their business. Last point I'll make, I saw this gal who was celebrating Charlie's death, and she had a boyfriend, and her boyfriend's construction business.
That was right here in Oceanside, by the way.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
It got massacred on Yelp. And then she came out whining and crying because she had death threats and her boyfriend's business was, well, I would think she would have thought of that before she went out and spewed her bull.
Yeah.
But she did, and she suffered the consequence. And she had 500,000 followers, right? So it's funny how when they do it and they celebrate it, they're all gleeful. But when the boomerang swings and comes back at them, they play the victim. Seems to be a pattern.
No, they did indict Comey. I just saw that come across the wire. Okay. Finally.
Step one.
Well, he put the heat on Pam Bondi last week and said, Pam, you got to do something here. Otherwise, you're not going to be in that position anymore. Trump is very interesting when he does something like that. And then he came back with a tweet after and he said, oh, Pam's doing a wonderful job. He'll say that. And then if she doesn't do the wonderful job the next day, you're fired. You know what I mean? There's like, it's black and it's white. There's like no gray area. It's like, well, she's good enough. No. You're either outstanding or you're gone. And there's no in between.
And on top of that, I guess the statute of limitations for whatever he was indicted for was like going to run out next week.
Tuesday. So that was going to be the end of it.
They had to pull the trigger now.
Yeah.
If they wanted to have any type of hope. And then, who knows what, is going to go by the wayside. We'll see. An indictment is one thing, perp walking, having a trial, all that stuff. I mean, that could be 5 years from now. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of people that are saying that once they pull the trigger on the first one, it'll snowball and there'll be more and more and more. So, all we can do is hope that the good guys are going to do something and take some action here. Certainly our side, the people we've been, all of us have been keeping the pressure on. We keep posting, we keep talking about it. And if you look at the zeitgeist of what's going on, we want indictments is really high up there. It's like the natives are very restless, and we need to see some action. So you think we don't have any power, but collectively we have a lot of power, right? And we've got to remember that when it comes to this kind of thing. Mitch mentioned Jeffrey Mead. Bruce, I don't know that you saw this video or not. This was posted by SGAnon. I'm going to play it. It's like 3.5 minutes, a little bit longer than a video we would normally play, but it gives you the framework that the Democrats have laid to make it seem viable to celebrate death, to kill people, and all the rest of this kind of thing that's been going on, all this violence, right? So we want to try to understand it. You really have to understand how they laid it out, how they set it up to make it that kind of reality. So let me play the video. We'll stay on screen for this one, and let's comment on it afterwards.
We've been elected to lead, not to blame the other side, not to stoke hate and division and anger and fear. This was a horrific murder that we saw play out. We each have a responsibility to bring this state and this country together, not to continue to divide.
Democrats continuously create a permission structure for violence. This is important. I also want you to think about this. How many times have you seen Democrats calling for unity with Trump? Really think about that. How often or how many times have you seen Democrats calling for unity with Trump? Now, I also want you to ask yourself, how many times have they tried to completely destroy him? Now you see a lot of Democrats calling for unity after someone that had their beliefs murdered one of the most influential people on the right in cold blood. It's hypocritical. It seems they want unity when their side has done something wrong. Listen to this, and this is important because, again, when I was talking about the permission structure for violence that Democrats have created and continue to maintain, listen to this. This isn't random. Charlie Kirk's assassination and the celebration of it fits into a historical playbook that has repeated over and over again. When you understand the mechanics, it becomes obvious where America's heading if this isn't confronted. Step 1, define the opponent as evil. Every time Democrats call conservatives fascist, Nazis, or threats to democracy, they aren't just debating. They're branding conservatives as illegitimate outside the boundaries of normal political competition. Here are some historical echoes, right? In the 1930s, Germany called the Jews parasites and rats. 1990s in Rwanda, Tutsis branded cockroaches. 1960s America, civil rights activists dismissed as agitators and communists. Once someone is defined as evil, violence stops being seen as violence. It then becomes defense. Step 2, signal that normal rules don't apply. If conservatives are Nazis, then punching them isn't assault, it's resistance. If Charlie Kirk is a fascist, then shooting him isn't terrorism, it's liberation. This is how permission structures form, not through direct calls for violence, but by shifting the moral framework so opponents no longer qualify for the same protections. Step 3, justify, minimize, or celebrate the violence. And this is exactly what we've seen after Charlie Kirk's murder. Online voices mocking him, media pundits saying, we don't know if the shots were fired, maybe in celebration, ignoring common sense realities. Celebration is the final stage. Once violence is normalized, more people begin to see it as acceptable, even desirable. So why this matters now? This isn't just a story about Charlie Kirk, it's about the trajectory of America. The left has created the narrative scaffolding, delegitimize the right, redefine free speech as misinformation, redefine lawful opposition as extremism, and redefine murder as resistance. That scaffolding can and will be used against anyone who refuses to submit. This isn't about defending democracy, it's about defending Democrats' political power. As long as Democrats continue to not take accountability for their dangerous rhetoric, and they continue to ignore how their rhetoric has got extreme individuals doing extreme things, they will continue to participate in sustaining this permission structure for violence. And as we see right now, they are taking no accountability for it. We need to call this out relentlessly because this is very important. Democrats have created and are maintaining a permission structure for violence. It needs to be called out aggressively. The excerpt I was reading from is one of the articles I sent out to some of my Substack followers. That's the email newsletter I'm talking about. The link is in my profile, so just go to my profile, click that link, you'll see this screen here, drop your email and hit subscribe and you'll be good to go. I cannot be censored there. I hope to see you there. That's all I got for now, and we'll see you in the next one.
I wanted to just leave his little promo in there for him. His name is Jeffrey Mead, M-E-A-D, and you can find him on Substack. All right, Mitch.
I read that Substack.
You did?
So when he was, yeah, so I'm completely aware of that for sure.
What do you think, Bruce?
He's 100% correct. I mean, it's part of that. You can kind of tie into that Hegelian dialect, thing. You know, and it's all psychological. That they plant these seeds, and he explained it perfectly there. They normalized it. The same thing happened back in Germany. So I mean, this is not a one-off situation. This is the playbook. That you can call it MK Ultra, the programming, brainwashing, whatever. But over time and decades, these words, these phrases, these ways of thinking have been, laid a foundation now to somewhat justify. And as he was reading that, I remembered another little story that I came across. There was a bunch of people protesting the Jimmy Kimmel thing, and there was this lady. It was a lady. They were protesting Jimmy Kimmel being suspended, but then they had a Trump effigy hanging on a piece of rope, and they were swinging a stick at it like it was pinata.
Yeah.
Right. So it goes back into the summer of love. Right. Mostly peaceful protests as shit's burning behind the guy. So they soften it up, and it's all psychological. That's why it's so critically important that we take control of our mind and our mindset, our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions, so that we don't fall into these traps. When they want to come, and then we can just thumb our nose at it, say, I know that game, just like an illusionist, a magician. Once you know how the trick works, it's not the same. So we know the tricks that they play, and we got to hold ourselves to a higher standard, and not lower ourselves to be able to play in that field, if you will.
Go for it, Mitch.
Well, I'd like to riff on this because it really speaks to a big part of my work. And I've mentioned this before in our conversations. Axiology is the science and study of human value. And it's a three-dimensional model, meaning there are three dimensions in the world. They're called intrinsic, extrinsic, and systemic. Intrinsic is all about people. It's the uniqueness and the intrinsic value that we have just because we're human. Extrinsic is all about things, material things. Systemic is about ideas and concepts, right? So you got those distinctions. The hierarchy, there's a hierarchy there. Concepts are not as valuable as things. In other words, if you take the concept of a car, all right, on paper, it has value, but you can't drive the concept of a car. You have to turn it into a real car, all right? Same thing with the architectural design of a house. It's very important to have it, but you can't live in the architectural design of a house. You have to build it, all right? So something material and real, it has more value than something is in a concept. Now, what's the highest value is the first car that you have, because that's unique and special. The first house that you may have bought with your spouse, your family, or the first boyfriend or girlfriend you might have had, because it has intrinsic value. That's experience and uniqueness. Now, I quoted Hartman, the founder of axiology, the last time, but I want to bring this quote back because it really sums up what Jeffrey Mead said in a different way. He said, our lore is full of stories of men who have given up for the sake of their lives what they think, what they have, and what they want, or have given up their lives for what they think and what they have and what they want. But how many have given up what they think, what they have, and what they want for the sake of their lives? Meaning, we give up our life, we give up our health, our intrinsic value for all kinds of things, material things, money, wealth, fame, celebrity, fortune, extrinsic. And then we give up our health, well-being, intrinsic value for our ideology, our belief systems. And as Carl Jung said, people don't have ideas. Ideas have people. And when, as Jeffrey said, you are bombarded with the idea that somebody's a fascist, somebody's a Nazi, they're out to get you, you not only think that's the right way to think, you think it's the only way to think. And when you're willing to take an idea or a belief and actually destroy property, or worse, attack, harm, injure, or maybe kill a person, in our language, it's called a values perversion. It's an inversion of value where you can justify any physical destruction or harm or injury to a person by your belief system. And when you're filled with this idea that the other people are not wrong, they're evil, if you could go back in time and kill Hitler in the womb, well, a lot of people would say, yeah, that's justified. Well, when you project that out to your enemy, who is really your friend on a human level, that's what I call insanity and vanity destroying humanity. And that's really the summation of everything. As you said, Bruce, when you get a belief in your mind that you're right, your thinking is not just right, it's the only way to think. You see, every one of these attacks, murders, are all justified by the ideology, or that I've been a victim, or that I've been injured, or that you're offending trans people. And it's the scourge of our time. And until people get their head straight and realize that, you don't have a right to harm or injure somebody, you don't have a right to destroy property, no matter what you think, no matter what your beliefs are. Last thing I'll say, Hartman spent his whole life trying to answer a question. He came out of Nazi Germany. And the question he had was, why does a killer in war get a medal when a killer in peace gets the electric chair? Think about that. And the answer to it is, you can take something that is immoral, killing, same thing, same act, killing, and actually make it legal by putting on a uniform. That if you kill somebody with the sanction of the state behind you, war, you're not only, is it legal, you're given a medal for it. Whereas if you take off the uniform and you commit the very same act, it's illegal, it's the most heinous thing you could do, and you get the electric chair in most cases, right? And that sums up the whole philosophy, that you can take something that's immoral and make it justified if in your mind you make it, quote, legal. It's okay, I can do that. And that's the whole values inversion. So I think Jeffrey Mead, really nailed this. And, that should be sent around the world to everybody who can read it and listen to it, because it is the existential threat of our time.
Yeah, no question. I was looking at this too, and from the psychological perspective, obviously, is when you define, he says here, step one is define the opponent as evil, and it's like, it's no longer, like he says, it's no longer just a political game. Oh, well, he's a Democrat, so we don't like him. He's going to vote for higher taxes. I'm going to vote for lower taxes. We have a disagreement. No problem. That's the way politics, probably 50s, 60s, that's where it was. But it's gone way beyond that now. And when you get to the point where, Trump is defined as evil, he mentioned that 98% of all the stories on CNN are negative against him. And you have people who only watch CNN. So what are they being infused with? He's evil. He's horrible. God, I will tell you, everyone in my family, except for one, up in Canada, all they hear is negative stories about Trump. They say, how could you possibly be for this guy? How could you possibly support him? He's the most evil criminal Hitler ever to walk the face of the earth, because that's all they're hearing. So step one, define him as evil across the board, social media, regular media, articles, blogs, all of it, right? Signal that normal rules don't apply. That's number two, right? That's step two. If conservatives are Nazis and punching them isn't illegal, it's resistance. So it's actually a good thing. Rules and values inversion, right, Mitch? The same thing. It's like, we don't care. It's like, it's easy to kill a cockroach. We don't worry about his life, right? It's like, well, you don't belong in my house. Get out, and you just kill him and you don't even think about it. It's that kind of thing. It's like if you lower the value of who they are and make them the enemy, literally, then it's okay. You've got literally have permission to do it and justify, minimize, or celebrate the violence. And we're seeing the celebration of the violence, which normalizes it in so many people's eyes. And the question I have now, because now we've seen, I think, 5 in the past week, sort of copycat crimes. They shot up the ICE people. That teacher that was on a football coach, and he was praying and he got shot. And you're seeing these copycat crimes, right? So they're celebrating it, saying it's okay to do that. These people are evil. They're going to destroy our country. We need to stop them. And guys, I got to say, it's kind of the same on our side sometimes too, right? We're not immune from it. Obama's evil. Obama's a terrorist. Obama's right. We've done it. We haven't gotten to the point of acting out yet. Our side seemingly is able, and kudos to us for January 6th. They really tried to kick it off. And our side said, no, we're not playing that game. We were smarter. How long does that continue before there's an event that triggers our side is always the question, right? And so we've got to pay attention to it. We are all being manipulated at every level. I'm manipulated. Bruce, you're manipulated. Mitch, you're manipulated. We try to do the best we can to see our way through it, but sometimes it's pretty foggy out there. It's hard to find our way, but we do the best we possibly can. So that's my soapbox speech on this topic. I appreciate both of you, your perspectives on this, because here's where we are. This is a sign of our times. They keep saying, "Oh, lower the temperature of the rhetoric," and they point at Trump.
Yeah,
but
and I'm glad you brought that up about on our side as well, because it's not an exclusive situation to the leftists. And this is crosses political barriers from decades and centuries ago. This has been a play that these power players, wanting to rule and control the world, have been using since almost the dawn of time. So we just have to be aware of that for sure.
Yep.
But I want to make a comment, because it is true. This is a human thing, all right? So we're all susceptible to it, even in lesser ways. We can insult people who we disagree with. And we can take it, we don't have to take it to harm or injury or murder. However, it's not a both sides issue. I don't know who the survey company was, but this survey just came out recently. About 25% of the people on the left side believe that it's justified. Violence is justified. All right. Harming people, attacking people, even maybe killing people, and up to as much as 40%, which blew my mind. No matter what your political beliefs are, you've got to be absolutely blown away by these numbers. Believe that it was okay to confront people and attack people for different points of view. That first statistic on the Republican side was 3%.
Wow.
So dramatically different.
Yeah.
So when I hear and again, it's not a question of one side is right, one side is wrong, but the idea that it's a both sides thing, it's one thing to call Barack Obama, something, call him a slur or whatever. Okay, that's free speech. But when you call somebody a Nazi, a fascist, you're crossing a line to where you actually are stimulating people to believe that person is evil. And what do we want to do with evil? We want to stamp out evil, all right? And everything becomes polarized. Either you're good or evil. Well, if I'm good and you're evil, you can't be good too. You have to be evil if you're evil. And so if 25 to 40% of any population believes it's acceptable, okay, to harm or injure somebody, that's a frightening number of people.
Got a big problem. Yeah.
when you consider 300 million people, you're talking, 100 million people either silently, quietly believe. And the last thing I'll say on this, you kind of expect it with somebody like Trump because he says what he wants and he's polarizing and people can get offended. But when people feel that way about other people who support him, now you're taking it one degree of separation, all right? And you can dehumanize somebody who could. I don't talk politics with my family at all. I have a big family. I just was back east. I have 20-something great nieces and nephews, and now 2 great nieces and nephews. And one had a wedding, and one had a first birthday party.
Wow.
All right. So I was with my family for 4 days, celebrate. Not one political conversation came up. And I would not engage because I was dealing with them as humans, people I love. And I don't want to reduce our conversations to political differences when we're happily celebrating good things. And I think part of this thing is also to elevate our relatedness to people we care about above politics to practical things and humanity. And that's why I talk about kind of saving humanity from vanity and insanity, because if we can't elevate our relatedness, even to people who we disagree with, and have what I loved about Kirk is he wanted to have conversations with people he disagreed with. And for that, he got hated and shot.
I'm not doing my job here.
What'd you screw up now?
I was supposed to have some ads running and talk about our sponsors and talk about, how we fund this show. But we get so into the conversations and so deep into this stuff. And it's so important and so impactful. Sometimes I do forget. Well, let me just tell you about our websites real quick. RenegadeMedia.tv is where you will find me. And we also have a Telegram channel, Renegade Media. And you can go there and keep up with all the crazy stuff that we've been posting. And then Mr. Bruce Poppy. Everything Bruce Poppy, the left, right, the center, everything, the unpopular viewpoints, the popular viewpoints, and everything in between. BrucePoppy.com is where you'll find him. And for our other guest, if you want to find Mitch Axelrod, soulrollgoal.com. And I'm going to tell you that URL would be a lot longer if he was really, using his Brooklyn. That would have been a lot longer URL. But here we are, soulrollgoal.com. And he left out the mellow roll, and there you go. And there's a lot to follow there with Mitch. He's always got a lot of great stuff to offer. So you can't tell that Mitch is from Brooklyn, can you? No. All right. On to some other topics here we could jump onto. What is going on here? Hegseth orders a rare urgent meeting of hundreds of generals. Confusion rips through the ranks. Well, I found this. This is kind of interesting. Monday, 9/29. Which is this coming Monday, Hegseth calls for military urgent meeting. Generals, admirals from all branches worldwide to meet at Quantico. Now, the connection to Quantico is that's where the ballistics were sent from the Charlie Kirk assassination. Is there a connection here? Monday, 9/29, Bibi Netanyahu is set to meet with President Trump at the White House. Tuesday, 9:30, Comey crimes are covered by statute of limitations. All other treasonous, seditious, conspiracy crimes don't have a statute of limitations. He's already been indicted. So, interesting. Wednesday, 10/1, government may shut down. Trump can impose Anti-Deficiency Act, trimming government wasteful spending and terminating jobs. So Democrats are demanding that they do the continuing resolution and it funds illegals' health care and other things. And Trump is like, no, we're not doing that. We're not spending American tax money on people who are not legally in this country. So the fight may go right down to the wire here, September 30th at midnight or October 1st at 12:01 a.m. The government will be, quote unquote, out of money. And Trump has the ability then not to just furlough, but actually to fire large chunks of the government. We got a lot to unpack here. What do you think, guys? What's going on?
Well, when was the last time that Congress actually did their jobs and didn't take a looming fear-porn government shutdown down to the last minute? So then they pack in some big omnibus bill with a bunch of pork and BS that funds all their pet projects, and we, the taxpayer, we, the people, end up getting screwed. I'm all for a shutdown, and I don't even care if the House and the Senate pass whatever they want to pass. Trump can give them all the big middle finger and veto the whole thing. So I mean, there's lots of plays that can happen here, and with the progression of things, my gut is telling me that a shutdown will happen. I hate predictions, but it just lines up with the way that things are going, and
Bruce,
BBB.
What is your crystal ball saying to you?
my crystal balls are clanking together right now.
Oh no!
But hey, it's something has to change somewhere. We cannot continue this. Every time it comes around, it's always down to the last minute. You're fighting. Oh yeah, it's the Democrats own the shutdown. Republicans, they're the ones that own the shutdown. If you shut down the government, Grandma's not going to get her Social Security check. Oh, it's the end of the world. We gotta do whatever we can to not shut down the government. It'll affect our credit rating. Blah 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 blah. It's all a bunch of BS.
Mitch.
Yeah. I everything Bruce said.
Yeah, what he said. That's not how this show goes, guys.
Well, I would like to see things shut down for a period of time to kind of get our house in order. We're just so out of control with the spending.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no question.
It's so obscene, and everybody's got their pet projects, and so maybe to shut it all down and get people. Grandma's going to still get her Social Security. Hopefully I'll get mine too, because I'm not quite a grandpa, but I'm on Social Security, although I certainly couldn't live off of it. But I think, again, our whole system is upside down. Our values are upside down. We don't consider, when we make these decisions in Congress, they don't make decisions for the benefit of the people. It's, who are my supporters, who are my lobbyists. So shut the whole thing down, flip the switch, reboot. I don't think any of us will think, if we didn't know what was happening with the media, our lives would probably just go on just like they were before. So that's my feeling, but, who knows?
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page here. Bruce, I'm thinking, this is a win for the good guys if we have a shutdown. There's no reason for them not to go along with it at this point, In the past, it was always, who's going to get the blame for it, right? Oh, it's Republicans that did. Oh, it's Trump, or it's Democrats. And it's back and forth. But the blame really doesn't matter anymore, the blame game. No. I think that when we get to that shutdown point, and then we can clear out, the Democrats are going to scream bloody murder if he starts mass firing large chunks of the government that are non-essential. Thank you, Russ. Vote, right? Essential versus non-essential. Oh, we have all these non-essential people in the government. You're all fired. He could shrink the government 30%, 40% overnight. And he has the right to do it. Why would you not take advantage of this moment?
Absolutely. I mean, when you look at, dig into some of the fundamentals of our financial system, and how it is and how it flows and all this stuff, there is nothing going to be better than to shut the whole thing off and retool it. Then we'd have a shutdown. Then we can. I love the term that Mitch used, reboot, because here comes the quantum financial system, people. So
fingers crossed.
Yeah. So I mean, all these different things, evoke all kinds of different stuff. But I mean, the bottom line is it's not sustainable. And if you look at history, back till all recorded history, any country who has exceeded 100% of their GDP with their with their debt, their deficit spending does not survive. If something bad happens, and if you look at history, all big, call them empires, the Roman Empire, all these different things have a shelf life of around 250 years. You can go and look at the history, the heyday and when they it's around that 250 year mark. And where are we coming up on here in America? 250 year mark.
Yep.
So, there's all these different things that are, potentially going on. And that's why I can say before, and I will continue to say, that we need to set ourselves up to experience as little pain as possible, because there's pain coming. I can guarantee you that and say it like I know my own name. There is pain coming. So it's just a question of how much pain do you want to experience? And there are things that you can do to experience as little pain as possible.
This, however, is not pain. This is my little helper. He's just kind of hanging out, loving the show and thinking, things are great. Hey, he's doing pretty good for a cat that's about 17 now. He's been on the Pet Club food for a while. Is it Super Sauce or Secret Sauce? They changed the name. It used to be Awesome Sauce, wasn't it?
Super Sauce.
Super Sauce now, yeah. So he's finally back on it because he was resisting it for a while. He was like, I don't like the taste. So I got him back on it. He's been through his first pouch in the past, and he's doing so much better. It is night and day difference when you feed them food that really helps them, and it's just so much fun to see the big difference it makes in them. So if you've got animals and you want to keep them healthy, keep them spry, Pet Club 24/7 sponsors our show. We appreciate that. And we're big fans. It's not just let's talk about something. We're big fans of it. So you can find out more. Just go to renegademedia.tv/pet club, and you will either get to sign up with Bruce or sign up with me. And, you'll have access to their food, which is really good. Cats, dogs, horses, and then the other H word, humans. Interesting. They have a mushroom supplement for humans as well. The Coriolis versicolor mushroom is what is the secret ingredient in here. And it's anti-cancer. It's anti a lot of things. And it really helps, if you've got health issues. Our friend Kristen, who is supposed to be on our show, we keep asking her, but she had some health issues. Kristen was dealing with a lot of health issues when she found this company, and taking their mushroom supplement, within 6 months, she's perfectly healthy again. So there's a lot of stories like that coming out. We encourage you to go take a look. renegademedia.tv/pet club. And, let us know what you think. Send us your success stories, because we love to hear those. Okay, I'm doing my job again. Hey. Pat on the back. Okay. Let's
go back, if I could. One thing that might come out of a shutdown might accelerate ending the Fed, which I'd like to see that happen in my lifetime. Because the idea that we can just print money, and some bureaucrat has control over interest rates, or a series of bureaucrats, I would love to see that, because that would also kind of hearken maybe the end of the IRS at one point.
Right.
So who knows?
I think the IRS is done for. I think we're getting to the point now where the tariff income will exceed the tax revenue income. So the income tax will go away, and it'll be, the external tax revenue is what it'll end up being. So we'll start to see that. It's happening a lot slower than I expected. I certainly thought by now we'd start to see some movement in that direction. I was really hoping by the end of this year. That's kind of what a lot of the pundits have been saying, but it's taking a lot longer. There is a fellow running here in California. I don't know his name. It's not Lewis, but someone else running, and that's one of the things he's promising is no more state income tax. I'm like, wouldn't that bankrupt California pretty quickly? But maybe not. Maybe he has got a plan. I have to talk to Lewis and see what he's got. What's that?
Isn't California already bankrupt?
Oh, California is so bankrupt you wouldn't even believe it. If they stopped federal funding, California would float away into the Pacific Ocean. It's like there's nothing left of it. Absolutely crazy.
Not Steve Hilton, is it?
No, not Steve Hilton. There's another. There's like 20 candidates now, I think, and the list is going to grow. I think they have until March to throw their hat in the ring. So they'll there's time yet to see more of them pop up. I think a lot of people who are going to get in will get in late because they'll get a lay of the land and they'll see who their competitors are, and then at that point they'll decide jump in or not jump in. So we'll see.
Well, they're all going to be fighting a losing battle because Lewis is going to win the primary, and be one of the top 2 vote getters. And so who knows? I might be parking my RV on the front lawn of the California governor's mansion.
Hey, that would be fun. Maybe there's enough money in there, Bruce, to get you a really fancy RV, like the $2 million kind.
Oh yeah. I would take that.
Let's see. You could be the czar of grass.
Hey, that's a subject I know a lot about.
I'm going to tell you, 5 types of politicians in the United States. 1 bought by Israel, blackmailed by Israel, dual citizen of Israel, scared to death of Israel, or killed by Israel.
Accurate?
What do you think, Bruce, Mitch?
Yeah, as much as half my family is Jewish, so they're very loyal to Israel, and I respect that. But there's a difference between the government and the people.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure, it's.
Well, Matt Gaetz just posted this today. Our greatest ally, Microsoft, terminates Israeli military access to its technology after uncovering mass civilian surveillance system violating its terms. Something's going on here, guys. Something is really popping with Israel. And it brings me back to, this Q post that we've been hearing forever. You're saving Israel for last. Very specific reason, not mentioned a single time. Q. You think we're in that path? You think that's what's happening here?
Makes sense.
I think the dots are lining up a little bit, too much in that direction to think it's a coincidence at this point. The Charlie Kirk thing, apparently bribed or pressured, and now the people trying to take over TPUSA, a lot of Jewish people in there, ties to Israel, right? They're taking over the movement so they could steer it in the direction they want to go. Candace Owens has been all over this, and she said, it was an attack from the inside. I'm like, whoa, that's a story. That's an angle we haven't heard yet. So, and the distinction always is not the Israeli people, but it's the Israeli government, right? Kind of like when we had Biden here, Biden didn't represent the American people. He represented a corrupt government. Very big difference.
Well, old shit's about to hit the fan one way or another.
There was a lot of chatter. I don't know, you guys follow this spiritual community, the Janines of the world, and other people who are intuitive and can kind of, look at, what may be coming down the line. October of this year, almost a year, a little bit more than a year, everyone's been pointing to October of this year as being a turning point for us, a big turning point. And, it seems to be lining up that way. It seems to be if you get this government shutdown, on October 1st, if you get all this exposure on Israel, why are the generals all coming together? See, all the dots are kind of lining up in a way that might make you think maybe something's up. Maybe there is something going on. It'll be interesting to see. So one thing people ask about is, should I be investing in gold and silver? I would say still it's a good idea to do that. You want a little bit of certainty in your life. Our buddy Matt Geiger can help you there. VerityMetals.com, either /renegade or /poppy. I'm going to change that. So maybe it's a link we both can share. Area code 480-717-9081. You can text Matt and he'll text you back, and you can ask any question you want about investing in gold and silver. And one of the cool things about investing in gold and silver is, like, we sold some silver this week. It hit hit 45 today. I think we sold it yesterday. So we're just under the high. I need a little bit of money, a little bit of cash. Easiest thing in the world to do. I didn't think it was so easy to do it, but that's the big concern people have. Like, I've got all this precious metals. What do I do with it? We bought the silver. I think it was 22, 27, somewhere in that range. you're getting close now to doubling your money on it in a year and a half or so. So it's like, yeah, okay, let's sell some. Yeah, let's get some money in the bank, that kind of thing. So it's not a hard thing to do to convert the precious metals back into cash, if you were wondering.
Easier than ever.
Yeah.
We've got a dealer 5 miles from here. They said they're busier the last 2 weeks than they've ever been.
Yep.
Not just people buying, people selling. So it's an active market.
It really is. And, if you want to look into it, do certainly go to veritymetals.com, talk to Matt, and he'll help you with that. Or if you got a guy in the local area, Matt's open to that too. Just go talk to your local guy. And if you want to sell some, you want to buy some, whatever. But I think he should be in the game. DOJ is pushing for charges against this guy, Mr. Mustache. I've always hated this guy. I never liked him, even though he's quote unquote on our side. Yeah. Well, they raided his house. What do you think they're going to find? If they find anything at all, what do you think, guys?
I don't think he's on anybody's side. He's on his side.
Yeah.
That's the way I always perceived him.
I agree. I agree.
I mean, if you look in the dictionary under neocon, he would be. His picture would be there. Amazing. He would nothing but war. We have to have war. We have to be fighting with somebody somewhere. And John Bolton never met a war that he didn't like. So if we're going to stop and this, like we started off that Jeffrey Mead thing and the whole psychology and minimizing, humanity, that we have to stop that example that Mitch gave was perfect. You wear a uniform in the military and you can kill and get a medal for it. Take it off and kill. You're in jail. It's illegal and frowned upon. So stop wars.
Exactly right. There's so much money in the war. I think these people are just pocketing so much. They just don't care about it. It's profits over people. And again, you have it in government, you have it in big industry, big pharma, you have it in big ag, you have it in big education. It's like the education, they don't care about the kids. It's all indoctrination, and they're paid a fortune for it. I was driving by the high school here in Temecula last week. I was driving by, and I'm like, look at the renovations this high school made. Unbelievable. Thing is like brand spanking new. They redid the outside, the roof. They put up a new building. I'm like, where are they getting the money for this? And it's head count, right? So the number of heads, they get paid by the number of heads. So they bring in all these illegal kids. They don't ask for, whether or not they're here legally or not. But they can get a name, they can get a signature, and they get paid for it. And there's so much money flowing into those school systems. I mean, the things that they're doing, and frivolous stuff too. I mean, the whole side of the building is a mural, and it's made of steel, and it was all welded and etched. And I'm like, seriously, you need this on a high school? Our high school didn't even have a name on it. You know what I mean? It was a brick building. Yeah, I guess the name was on the front door, but that was it. The only place you'd see the name would be on the front door of it. Craziness. Okay.
Representation of our time. Polish up the outside, but on the inside, the kids are graduating at the worst rate of literacy in our history.
Yep.
So it's like no matter how much you pretty up the outside of a car, if the engine is screwed up, and so we put all the money on the outside, but we don't put it on the inside where it really matters. I just saw that Tennessee State University where they chased a couple of MAGA people, kids who wanted to have a dialogue from Turning Point, sat down and just, want to start talking. And they attacked these people like a mob of people came at them, chased them. The police had to come and escort them off the property, right? And when I looked at their, they had like a 91% acceptance rate. What do you think their graduation rate was? 15%.
Oh.
Right?
Any other industry, you'd be fired for that. Yeah.
It's disgusting.
Yeah.
So we're just so into symbols and prettying up the outside of people, whereas you got to, like Bruce talks about, you got to work on the inside, the psychology or mindset. And but that's just indicative of California especially, you know.
This is really indicative of California. Watch this.
It has just been revealed that a dog successfully voted in a recent election in California. The dog received a ballot in the mail and successfully cast that ballot. And indeed, even after the dog died, continued to receive a ballot in the mail. Now, the owner has now been charged by the Orange County District Attorney's Office for illegally registering her dog to vote. But she probably would have got away with it if she hadn't posted a photo of her dog on social media wearing an I voted sticker. So the individual here has been charged with a number of felonies for perjury, for procuring or offering a false or forged document, 2 felony counts of casting a ballot when not entitled to vote, 1 felony count of registering a non-existent person to vote. Just to be clear, dogs are not actually allowed to vote in California.
Yet.
Yet. Exactly right. Yeah. Our elections need a little bit of work, huh? We need to work and hammer some things out.
Oh, God.
Wow.
Yeah, huh? There's a big controversy going on in BC about this ostrich farm. Did you hear about this, guys?
Yep.
They're wanting to shut it down, right? Because it's not regulated or something like that, similar to an Amish situation.
No, they did a PCR test back in February.
Oh, yeah.
And they found that there was a virus amongst these ostriches, and now they're going to kill 400 of them. And it's raising quite the uproar. And there's a lot of Canadians traveling from across Canada to go to British Columbia, which is on the west coast, to stop this. And the police, who are they? They're the agricultural people there. They put up a huge pen of hay bales, and they were going to put the birds in there and shoot them from above so you wouldn't be able to see it. They blacked out the cameras. They won't let the owners go back. They put the 2 ladies that run the ostrich farm, they put them in jail overnight. Apparently they're out now. It's raising quite the uproar. So I'm like, okay, so what's really going on here? If they saw that there was a virus back in February and they're not doing anything, well, then this comes across my timeline. Ostrich farm developing antibodies that could put an end to coronavirus. Well, there it is. There's your answer.
Line me up to get that shot.
So apparently the ostrich egg has 100 times what a chicken egg has as far as antibodies go. And within the ostrich egg, you can make those antibodies, and you could have it something that you could just smell, because it could transfer just by nasal. You could smell it, and you would have antibodies against COVID. You'd never get COVID. It's one of the things that they're finding that it blocks other things as well. There's other treatments. So yeah, big pharma not liking this. So they're going to go in and kill 400 of the birds.
So we're gonna start snorting ostrich eggs then?
Ostrich egg pheromones or whatever it is that comes out of them, antibodies. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, they're gonna put the mRNA in lettuce too.
Yeah. Craziness. So we're going to see how that plays out. They were supposed to start killing today, but I think that's not happening. So we'll keep an eye on it because, big pharma again, crazy. It was just announced the male version of Alexa will be released. It will be called Alex. And you have to ask it the same thing 10 times and wait 6 months for him to do it.
Oh, God.
Yeah. What do you guys? Why you be so funny? You know what I'm saying? So you've heard all these stories about these pregnant women taking Tylenol and filming themselves of it, right?
Perfect example of what we've been talking about, right?
Yeah, because so Trump said Tylenol was bad, so they're going and they're taking the Tylenol and they're and they're pregnant. They're visibly pregnant. And they're taking, even though Trump said don't take it if you're pregnant. That's what RFK and all of them came out because it could cause autism, developmental issues with the child. And now there's apparently one who took so much of it, she's on a ventilator and probably won't survive. So,
and the irony is, in 2017, Tylenol posted on X and publicly that pregnant women should not take Tylenol.
Correct.
but Trump said it. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to, just a sickness, mental sickness.
So here's the response. Here's Trump's response to that.
My fellow Americans, in light of recent studies, I wanted to warn against the use of toasters in your bathtub or your shower. It's an incredibly dangerous thing to do. You could get electrocuted. They call it electrocuted. I call it zapped like you've never seen before. A shocking experience. You don't want to get zapped. That much I can tell you, especially if you're on the left. You people are fried enough as it is. We don't need it to get any worse. And electricity is no joke. I got along very well with, you may have heard of him, Benjamin Franklin. I called him Brilliant Ben. And he was flying a kite. And the lightning hit it. And he was getting electrocuted. He was getting zapped. And I grounded him. And if I wasn't there, it would have been a much different situation. But I grounded him, and we discovered electricity together. Brilliant Ben, tremendous guy. Got along very well with him. Along the same lines, we want to advise against licking your wall outlets, despite what Jiggly Belly Pritzker says. Your wall outlet is not a candy bar. Do not try to lick it. It doesn't taste very good, and you may pick up a shock, which we don't want you to do. We don't want you to get hurt. I know those on the left love and enjoy very much licking their windows. We ask that we don't apply the exact same thing to the wall outlets. It could get you very hurt. We want to keep America safe. We want to make America great. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
That guy is epic.
I love that. That was a really, really, really good one. Fellow Long Island boy, by the way, Sean Farash. We've had him on the Truth Tour and tried to get him on the show, but it's hard to reach him.
Oh, and he just confirmed that Trump is a time traveler.
There you go.
Hanging out with Brilliant Ben and Nicholas Tesla. So I mean, yeah, he's jumping all over through those electrical things.
I'm telling you, yeah. It's fascinating to see if Trump says it, they're going to do it. So it's like, here's the idea. It's like, oh yeah, you don't use your toaster in the shower. It's like, oh, I'm going to do it because Trump said it. Don't do it. I guess that's how we cull the population. Is that what this is about?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to start taking safety labels off everything and let natural selection take its course. We're to that point.
Yeah, we are there. We are definitely there. In the intuitive community, they do say that there will be a large part of the population that will not go to the next level. That they will be left behind, and maybe that's what we're seeing. Maybe this division, instead of looking at it as all bad, maybe it's just natural selection taking place. I don't know. That doesn't include any of you. Anybody who's watching this show, you guys are coming to the next level, no question.
Yeah, I don't want to be 5D with some of these people.
Yeah, I know. Bruce, thank you so much for, I know you were rushing to get set up and get rolling, and thank you so much for, stopping a little bit early on your journey. You'll finish tomorrow. You'll be in California tomorrow, so we look forward to that, and I'll probably see you within the next 2 weeks because you're going to be coming down our way. So we'll be at one or two of the events as they start to pan out. So appreciate that. And Mitch is also in San Diego, although he sounds like he's from Brooklyn. He's actually in San Diego. And I know you grew up in Jersey. I know you got to remind me, but I still think of you as a Brooklyn boy. I don't know what it is.
You can take the kid out of Brooklyn, but you can't take the Brooklyn out of the kids.
That's right. You got to get off that island. The Brooklyn, they don't think they're part of Long Island, but I don't see any river separating Long Island from Brooklyn or Queens. But
that map of New York, it's like New York and then the rest of the country.
That's right. That's the way they look at it. No question. Mitch, great having you here as always. I'm looking forward to what's coming next, and we'll have you back because you bring that very needed higher level view of things, and it's always good to have that. Bruce will be back as much as he can. I know he'll be on tour. I think the tour starts next week, Bruce.
Yeah, we're having our first big event on Saturday. And it's super important to go to hermsforcali.com events section. You'll be able to see the list of where we're going to be. But yeah, Saturday, a big event in Yuba City or Live Oak. And then Monday, we have Sunday off. Then Monday, we're going to be in Paradise. And I believe Redding, both on Mondays, or it's a Monday's twofer. Paradise in the morning and Redding, California in the afternoon. But you can get all that information through herms4cali.com and the events section. Put your email address and stuff in there so you can get updates of where we're going to be.
You be down our way, San Diego at all?
I believe so.
The closest they're going to be is Lake Elsinore, which is actually a little bit north of me. So they'll still be in Riverside County. They're not coming into San Diego County on this tour. But apparently there may be another tour in the works for later this year, early next year, which we'll have to do San Diego. I mean, that's where all the conservatives happen to be, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to see. You would probably know better than me.
We'll work it out, and we'll definitely be at some of those. I know people are already planning to come up to Lake Elsinore. If you're coming at the Lake Elsinore event, I'll be there in person. I know a lot of people like to see me. And guys, I got to thank you for the kind words after Monday's show. It was kind of an interesting show because I had a guest planned, and at the last minute he had a scheduling conflict and couldn't join. And I didn't have anything prepared or very little prepared. So it's kind of off the cuff from the heart, and people really responded well to it. So thank you for that. If you haven't seen it, the show is called The Movement. And typically it's a solo show. Typically I don't have guests on there. And, it was really an opportunity to really discuss a lot of the Charlie Kirk stuff and some of the things that are going on from, my perspective. And, the interesting feedback that I get from a lot of people is, I didn't know that about you. And it's kind of interesting because I've been doing these live streams for so long, but I think the way I'd been doing them is I've been acting really as the host rather than really people getting to hear from me. So this is an opportunity for you to hear my point of view. And you're not required to agree, certainly, but certainly they get a little bit more of a flavor of what I bring to the table. Guys, I really appreciate the compliments there, and it makes it certainly worthwhile doing. Bruce, lots of love to you, my friend. You're awesome. And we're going to see you in person. I can't wait in a couple of weeks or sooner. We'll see. And Mitch, we're going to have to get together and have some lunch and share a burger or something on the coast.
For sure.
Absolutely. And for all of you watching, thank you so much for being here. Give us a thumbs up if you like the show. And if you really like the show, give us a share. Share it with your friends and followers, because that's how it grows. See you all again Monday. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.